Lad Racing YouTube channel. I'm Clint. This is Intimidator. And we're trying to make racing affordable again. Last week, you guys watched a video. You seen we grooved out a couple tires here because we're going to go from 8-inch wide tires to 10-inch wide tires. Which our 10 inches come out smooth as that. They're old asphalt takeoff tires. Now, one thing we got to come figure out a solution to is how to get these little marbles off. You can see this tire here is kind of rough. We got one over here that's even worse. Got gravel and all sorts of crap in it. Now, I've seen numerous different ways on how to do it. Some guys use what they call a tire grinding disc, or it's a sanding disc. Kind of metal, got some grit on it. Probably best solution for working on tires. Me, on the other hand, I use a flapper wheel. Try to use 40 grit. I think I got 80 grit on right now, 60 or 80. I need to get a different wheel for it. But either way, that's what I typically use to do my tires. Now, those who watch my videos, you've seen me do those tires with my flapper wheel. And I've done these tires with it before, or one of them anyway, one of these. And it's just getting the grime off the tires. That's something that I have never seen anybody do as far as dirt guys, is use a torch. I've seen guys on NASCAR use a torch with a scraper, and they just kind of heat up and run across the tire and get the crap off of it. I don't have a torch and all that fancy stuff to do that. But I do got a heat gun that's got an attachment for it that I could use to do that. So we're going to give that a shot real quick. We're going to experiment. If it works, it works. If not, well, we both fail together. So let's get it going. Alright, so we got about a third of the tire done. We use this little tool attachment here on my heat gun, but it's a little flimsy, and I'm not going to touch the hot spot, but it's a little flimsy. Don't really take a lot off at a time. You can see here's a section I hadn't done, and you can see where I started at. It's quite a bit off of there. Something I'm thinking about doing is taking this little scraper here and zip tying it onto here. Tried to use the heat gun and scrape behind it. It really wasn't feasible with two hands. Really almost need a second guy to do that. Doing it with the little attachment takes a good while. So we're going to say using what the attachment that I had isn't really feasible. We're gonna experiment, zip tie this onto the heat gun and see if we can't get better results. It does a good job using the heat gun. Get a good nice surface. It's nice and smooth. Gets all the grime off, but just not very time conscious using the heat gun. So let's try this deal and see what we get from there. Okay, so we got a little redneck engineering going on here. We got zip ties, got my little putty scraper on there. We'll see how it works. Alright, so our little redneck engineering method here seems to be doing a little bit better job. We already knocked out another third of the tire. But the biggest struggle is we don't have a rim on the tire, or a tire on a rim. With that being said, I don't know if you can really see, you can kind of see the curvature in the tire there. That seems to be the biggest holdup with doing it like that. So we're going to go and eat some lunch real quick. Then we're going to get our bead lock out over there. Put the tire on the bead lock, and I'll show you the trick I learned with doing the other tires when I grooved them. We'll go ahead and put the tire on the bead lock because it's got to get on there eventually anyway. We'll put some air in it. That way the tire's got a nice smooth surface. And we'll try our redneck method again. It seems to be going a lot quicker than what my little doohickey there was. So I think we might be onto something here. We're gonna go eat some lunch. We'll be right back. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys real quick before we get too far in depth, because my bead lock's leaking now. Is on these tires, when I put them on to get them on and off easier, I don't blow them all the way on the bead. I leave them just enough where they're gonna hold air, and hopefully the bead lock holds. And I measure and everything off of that at all the same pressure for my stagger. Then I can change it from there. But I just want to show you kind of a little trick. Heard somebody tell me about it, and I don't remember who it was, but it's a good idea. We're going to try to get the rest of this tire with the heat gun real quick and see where we end up from. Our little redneck method works pretty good, considering it's literally 2 zip ties, a heat gun, and a scraper or putty knife, however you want to put it. Got all the marbles off the tire. The tire's still got to be scuffed either way, but as far as storing it and everything else, get this glove off real quick, it drives me nuts. But as far as storing and stuff, this is good enough for now. You know, we'll have to scuff them before we actually run them anyway. So the first little setup, not so good. Zip tying that on there and trying it with no air in the tire worked a little better. Putting air in the tire worked the greatest. Not quite as fast as scuffing, but it'll work. So we're gonna groove this one up and get started on another one. Okay, and just like that, we've got another groove tire. Now I went ahead and did the little squares on it. Got a little carried away when I got started and lost track where I was. So we're gonna dismount this one and maybe get another one started. We'll see. All right, well, change of plans. We were gonna get started on another set of tires using a flapper disc. We ended up finding a 60 grit, which is better one I had of 80 grit, but yesterday while we were in the shop working, we had a tree company out here clearing out some trees for a new power line going over to my house. And we got a little bit of a mess over here. And being I don't like snakes, we want to get this cleaned up for we get a bunch of snakes moved in. So that's kind of what we're going to do right now. Maybe later on this evening we'll get back out in the shop and continue our little experiment with flapper disc. But I guess for the time being, we're gonna hurry up and get this done. Okay, well, one man, one chainsaw. We made pretty good progress so far today. That there is a stump of the tree that you guys might remember from the video after we bent the frame on the old leafer. That's the tree we tried to straighten the frame on. Kind of sad we had to cut that down, but we're getting a new power line into our house, so we had to sacrifice a few trees to make it happen. The little cedar tree there, you can see it was forked. There's part of it over there. I don't know, I'm making pretty good work by myself. Ran out of gas on my chainsaw. Big Red being a big help. Last time I did a big tree like this, I had to drag a lot of the brush up by hand until we got Big Red, and then it made life a lot easier. Chainsaw ain't nothing special, just an old Stihl 180. Nothing big, but we're out of gas, so gotta wait for the wife to get home. She's got the 2-stroke oil, so we'll see where we end up at tonight. We'll probably back out in the shop here in a little bit once she gets back and kids are under control. Promised the little guy to ride on the tractor. Gotta let him ride or drive. nickel bead lock, so we're going to try to make this quick because the air compressor keeps kicking on. But we have a 60 grit flapper wheel on my grinder. We're going to go through and scuff the tire like we normally would, getting the other tires prepped up just to get the marbles off. And we're going to see if this works better than, don't mind the mess, but our old heat gun down there. And we'll let you know as soon as we get down here. So we're going to go to town. Okay, well, we got done grinding it, and I really can't say that it is faster than using the heat gun with the scraper zip tied to it, or that it's necessarily easier, but do get the tire a lot smoother in the long run. Like I said, I don't know that it's more effective or not. It's not necessarily faster in my opinion, at least the way I did it. But that's using a flapper wheel. That's not the tire grinding disc that you can buy from Speedway or Summit, wherever. We haven't got one. Maybe, if I come across one pretty cheap or something like free, even better. But, we might try one of them if we can come across one pretty cheap. But we're going to groove this tire out and see what else we come up with. Okay, so we got the tire grooved out. CJ come out and supervised a little bit. But we got tire grooved. We actually did angles this time. I was asked by Pretty Boy the other day through Snapchat why I do big squares. In theory, if I need to change the tire up a little bit, I can always add more grooving to it versus you can't take it out. So my theory is leave more bigger squares. Then if we need to modify the tire, we got more room to modify it how we need to do it. We do have tires with smaller squares, and the other issue is with doing smaller squares, I'm getting older. My hands get tired of pushing that groover around. Even though it's hot, it does a pretty good job on these tires, but man, that's a lot of grooving there. And I don't have a tire machine to spin the tire, as far as going around it or anything, so I got to groove a section and then turn the tire by hand and then groove another section, turn the tire by hand. Pretty much a repetitive process, and then, we got to dismount the tire, switch it out, put another tire on. So it's a lengthy process. So for the time being, we do big squares to help save time, save my hands, and, it adds for future modifications if we need it. So that being said, I think as far as our experiment goes, I like the heat gun better than I do the grinder. The grinder's great for tire that's already been prepped. But as far as getting the slime and the marbles off the tire, I like the heat gun with the scraper better. We do big squares to save time and save my hands. I think that's about it. So we're going to close this out. I'm going to probably go in and edit this video. CJ's got to go in and go to bed because he's got school in the morning. I got to work tomorrow night, all weekend, so we'll be off Tuesday and get back into messing around. We got to finish cleaning our tree mess up probably before we get out here, so I guess we'll close this out. Got anything to say, CJ?
Nope.
Yeah, he's camera shy. CJ, your fly's undone. Either way, we're going to close up, pick up our mess, and go in the house. God bless you. We'll see you later.